of different people.
So the
All
ESPN.
right, I had to hop on here for Cross.
The sports network, correct?
As not being a member of YSL.
No, it's my.
So if you're a member of
mic is
YSL and you have ESPN on your arm, are you saying the only thing it could possibly mean is your interpretation of ESPN?
That's what I've seen it mean thus far with members of YSL.
And that's the only thing you believe it could mean?
As far as members of YSL, yes.
So the fact that my client was a football star at Grady. Okay. Do you know if my client played
He's
football at
already
Grady?
struggling.
I do now.
Do you know if my client got a scholarship?
And this
to
is
University
what
of
I
Georgia
mean
as a
about
football
this
player?
man's cross-examination.
I'm asking if she
He
knows.
does not
this.
ask obvious
You can ask
questions.
if she knows whether it's true or not.
Do you know if my client got a scholarship to the University
I've
of
heard
Georgia?
that.
You've heard that. Okay. And so would you find it surprising that someone that got a football scholarship to the University of Georgia might like ESPN?
I had to
the
hop on
network?
here for cross-examination. I had to.
I mean, they could like it, but I don't know if I'm sure he likes other.
I'm working,
TV
so
channels also
trying
that
to
aren't
do two
tattooed on
things
him.
at the same time.
So if it's tattooed on you, it must mean ESPN that you're a member of YSL. You just said that Dwayne Carter has ESPN on his arm, but he's not a member of YSL.
Sustained.
You just said that ESPN
Sir.
on Lil Wayne is not a YSL insignia, correct?
Correct. Like I could say, you can see a college sorority girl with a star tattoo on her, right? And then you can go down to the prison and see members of blood gangs with 5-point stars tattooed on them. It's going to we look at everything on an individual basis. So I can't make that determination. When it comes to YSL members, when you see ESPN associated with a YSL member, I have not seen it mean of anything other than every slime play nasty.
And you said you could see a sorority girl with a star on her, correct?
Correct.
And you could see a University of Georgia football
You're
player
already
with
stumbling,
ESPN
sir.
on their arm too, correct?
Correct, but they're both not members of a blood gang or YSL.
Okay.
Oh, you're just gonna give up?
Mr. Kokomo, can I get you to come up? May I approach again, Your Honor?
May.
Don't give up. Sir, you're literally a minute into cross-examination. All right. Which parties briefed the desire to answer? Creating liability in third parties commits an action against an employer's workers' compensation carrier. On effects and circumstances present in this case.
Mr. Kokomo is going to show you a video. I just want to know if you recognize that video.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And he is forgetting basic procedure. Come on now. You have to show the opposing side. I want to see. I really should not be reading these comments. Hold on.
Would you play a piece of that?
Can I stop for a second? Is that going to show my face on camera?
No, we're not going to.
Okay, I just
I'm
want
not
to
going
make.
to.
I just want to make sure.
I'm not going to show you.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Do you recognize that video?
I do.
I'm not going to publish this video, but I'd like.
Okay, the comments aren't really saying anything, so let's stick to the gist of cross.
Okay, now I'm going to show you a still from the video.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you show
recognize that?
the rest of
I do.
us?
And do you recognize the individual in that?
That is me. I do.
Okay. Okay.
And they have her?
DK15A.
Does she have YSL tatted or ESPN tatted on her?
Okay.
All right, and that's a still from the video.
Yes, it's
Submitted.
DK15A. It's a still from the video.
Which
and it's been
video?
redacted to remove the image of investigator Viverito.
Thank you. It's
Okay.
submitted.
Would you please publish DK15A? Okay.
Permission granted.
Who is in this still image from DK15?
That is me.
Okay. Do you recall when this was taken?
That was on March 9th of 2020. I mean, I'm
This
sorry, May 9th
body
of
worn
2022
camera.
And where was it
Footage?
taken?
at 355 Allison Drive Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30342.
And whose home was that at the time?
The home of Jeffrey Williams.
And
Sheesh.
where in the home are you?
Should be the master bedroom closet leading to the bathroom.
And in the video that you watched, which I'm not publishing again because it has your image on it,
Correct.
what are you doing at that point in the video?
We're inventorying the jewelry and items.
Is he still going on about the watch?
Okay. And is this image that is taken that's part of your inventorying procedure in the home? Is that correct?
It's a documentation procedure, yes.
Okay. And do you recognize what you're holding in your hand in this still image?
I do.
And what are you holding in your hand?
A watch of some sort.
Dang, you're gonna say she stole the watch.
I guess, yes.
And that's a pink watch, correct?
It's pink and either pink and light pink or pink and
What
white.
happened to
yes.
the watch?
It's a pink band, correct?
Correct.
And it has a white ceramic, I'll call it the body of the watch.
White, yeah, I guess it's white if you say so, yes.
Okay. After you took this image
Mhm.
and you did this
You better
inventory
have more than the
process,
watch.
where did the watch go after this?
If you watch the video in its entirety, we're inventorying everything in the closet. There's a bunch of small boxes everywhere. So if you watch the video in its entirety, you take it and the watch is photographed like this, box is closed, it's taken and put up on the shelf in the upper left-hand corner, and the inventorying continues. And then jewelry starts getting packed up.
He better have more than the
and
watch. You
getting
better
ready for
ask,
the evidence team to come and
cross-examine
take
on
it
other
down the
issues
property.
other than that watch.
Okay. Since November the 4th of this year,
All right.
have you spoken to the state about this particular watch, the pink watch with the white band that I've been calling the Richard Mill or Richard Milley watch?
To the state, no, but I've seen the like Twitter coverage of it going missing or whatever you want to.
Maybe
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's a camera in here. They know that it's being live streamed. You just are not supposed to be watching it.
Oh,
And
Right.
you asked that in the evidence. So
Well,
just keep moving.
I wasn't watching the trial, but my name.
Don't
and-
worry about it.
Okay.
Just keep moving.
okay.
Unless you need to approach about something else.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me, and I'd like to know about this. Tell me in the
Yeah, this guy.
whatever coverage you saw, what did you learn about this watch that came up in this trial?
Sustained. Well, yeah, sustained.
And this is what I've been
Okay.
telling everybody about.
So
This man does not know
after
how
this
to
watch was
cross-examine.
inventoried and you left it for, I'm sorry, who did you say takes the watch?
Does
after
not
the
know how to
inventory?
cross-examine.
So if you watch the video in its entirety,
Which I can't show here, but go
Right.
ahead.
but if you watched it, like I watched it, the watch gets boxed back up and placed up on the shelf, and it gets left there by the team as
No, they need to go back out to that,
as an
to
accident.
Jeffrey's
It was left
house.
there. The home was then turned over to Mr. Williams Sr. and Mr. Garfield Lamond to take possession of the home.
And is it the normal process?
He did
when
not
you're
know
taking
that.
Jewelry from the home or high valued goods that you leave
This
behind a
man
$500,000
cannot
watch on the shelf?
cross-examine.
First, I don't know the value of it. Second of all,
Wow.
um,
This is exactly what I've been
like I said,
saying.
there were numerous
Does
jewelry
not know
boxes.
how to
It was, if you watch the
cross-examine.
video, everybody in there had on body cameras. I was made sure I was on camera at all times. There's cameras throughout the home. So you would be able to see if one of us removed a watch, the box remained in the closet. And like I said, the home was turned over to Mr.
Does
Williams
not
Sr.
know
and
how
Mr.
to
Garfield Lamond,
cross-examine.
who were the two people on scene that took
He's
custody
made
of the
a
home
big
for Mr.
deal
Williams.
out of
Okay,
this
can we go back
watch
to my question?
Sure.
and did not
Sure.
even
Is it the
know
normal procedure to
where
leave
the watch.
high-valued items
He does not know how to
behind when
cross-examine.
you're doing
I'm
a
not
search or a
surprised, I'm
seizure
just
pursuant to a
disappointed.
warrant? It wasn't answered, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I don't know if there's
Does not
necessarily
know
a
how to cross-examine.
procedure on what you take or what you don't. Like I said, it
The
got
lesson
left
from
behind.
this
There
is
were other
this.
things like other items of evidence that I had asked to be.
Here's the
taken, such as
lesson from
photographs
here.
and,
You do not hire
artwork
a civil
that had relevance to
litigator
this case
to
that were left
represent
behind
you
by the
in a
evidence team.
criminal
It
case,
was quite a big
okay?
operation.
You don't do that.
There was a hostile crowd gathering at the bottom of the driveway, so we were trying to speed it up to get out of there.
So are you telling me that law enforcement has no procedure with what you do with high value items that are subject to a seizure warrant?
It's asked and answered at this point.
Okay. So the watch you say was left behind. What else wasn't done according to your instructions at the home that day?
I believe there were 2 pieces of artwork that were, one was Mr. Williams in a general uniform with snakes on his arm, and then one was Mr. Williams as like the Jesus at the Last Supper with all the people around him that I thought were relevant that were not taken. And like I said, it started to get pretty hostile out there, so we were trying to speed things up.
You said that there were many people with body cams in the
Correct.
home at the time. How many people approximately at the time of this raid of the home, let's call it that, were wearing body cams?
Almost everybody.
And
Oh my.
did these body cams capture Mr. Kendrick within the home?
I believe they caught Mr. Kendrick running from the home.
That's not the question I asked.
Sir, that's
caught
the
him outside of
response
the
you're
home?
getting.
I don't know how to better. I'm answering
What,
the question.
it's either a yes, no.
No.
Is there body cam image of Mr. Kendrick
I
within
don't know
Mr.
that.
Williams' home?
The body camera image I saw was him running from the home.
Is there body cam image of
No.
Mr.
Answer
Williams
yes or no, and then you can explain.
in the home?
I haven't reviewed it, all of the entry team's body camera, but no.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick in Mr. Williams' home?
Did you?
On that, by the time I arrived at the location,
Woman, no, and then
the
move
entry
on.
was already made. So I did
you
not. No.
You did not? Okay. Did you? There were approximately a half a dozen firearms found within the home, correct?
Correct.
Have you seen any images of Mr. Kendrick possessing any of those firearms?
I have not.
Have you seen any images of Mr. Kendrick near
Hey,
those
Allie.
I have not.
I had to hop on
firearms?
here
There
for
were
cross
drugs found in the home,
examination.
correct?
I
Correct.
hope you're watching.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick with any of those drugs?
No.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick anywhere near any of those drugs?
No.
As far as you know, was Mr. Kendrick in actual possession of any of those drugs?
No, I wasn't there when they made entry.
Have you
What did you
spoken to
think
anyone?
about the, Allie, this is for you. What did you think about the initial cross examination of how Doug started off?
Did you speak to Mr. Kendrick at all at that time?
I did not.
Okay. As far as you know, did Mr. Kendrick have any of those drugs? As far as you know.
As far as I know, no.
And as far as you know, did he have any of those guns?
I just know he was in the home where they were located at some point that day.
Okay. Let's
I have
talk
more
about
questions
the
at that.
mob ties video for just a moment.
Yes.
All right.
So in that video, at the very end, right, we have Mr. Kendrick saying, excuse my language, saying, knock it off your big homie bitch, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall how many times that line was stated prior to Mr. Kendrick uttering that line at the very end?
Multiple.
And it was stated by 24 Heavy, Ricky Hill, correct?
Correct.
And I believe he states it 3 times, right?
Correct.
So Mr. Kendrick is just repeating a line that someone else has written or someone else has said. He's repeating that at the end, correct?
I'm not sure who the writing credits go to, but he did say it at the end.
He's not freestyling it in that it's never been heard before in
There's
the
no
song,
way.
correct?
Well, it wasn't part of the song.
Yeah, as far as
At
freestyle,
that
I
point,
don't
the
know.
song had ended, and he yelled it.
But it had been said 3 times before in the song, right?
Right.
So you're aware there's post-editing that lines can be put into music after the song is recorded, correct?
Right. But the context of how he was saying it, the way he said it, wasn't going along with the song.
Ooh, this is interesting. Tell me about that.
It was after the song had concluded, and he kind of yelled it out with Miss Raven, and I forgot who else was with him.
How do you determine that a song has concluded?
The video, the way it's portrayed in the video, I didn't edit it. The way that it's portrayed in the video has ended.
Yeah, he's
and
going.
he utters it at the end.
Oh no,
after the
Doug,
song
if
is
you
finished.
have an actual
So
plan,
what training
stick
have you
to
had in
it.
music to know, when a song is ended in a particular video, when there's an utterance after a song is ended?
Are you asking me how I know when a song ends?
Yeah, how do you know this in this video? Like you've had training and expertise that tells you when a particular rap song ends
Now
and then
it's just
something
being
is just blurted
argumentative.
out afterwards?
I mean, I've listened to the song
Sir,
in
you
another
are
video,
in
and that's not
control.
on the track.
Don't
it's
let
in
her
the
rile
video,
you up.
correct?
Right, but when the song concludes, it's not part of the track.
You are the attorney.
Can we put up, I don't know, which one of y'all are throwing up exhibits? Can you put up 512 VV? Mr. Atkins, or, thank you so much.
Oh no, what's the time? 3:50.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Sure, it's okay. So, thank you, though. Sorry, just give us a
All right,
minute
come on,
to
folks.
set it up.
Ah, shoot. That's funny. Ellie said, I think he started
We'll
off
talk
not
about
bad.
something just a moment. Well, it's going to take a few minutes for this to get pulled
Okay.
up, okay? We'll come back to it, I promise. Again, I'm going to go back to the closet, and I apologize for jumping around.
Sure.
When you're in Mr. Williams, did you call it the jewelry closet?
No, it was a closet where there was a jewelry and other things, money.
Sir, I hope
other
you have
things.
more than the
Okay.
watch.
When you're in that closet, do you recall in that video that you mentioned how valuable that watch is when you pull it up?
I don't believe so.
I can play that for you so you can hear that.
You can. I don't. Yeah, if you'd like to.
I'll be careful.
Are we
Yeah,
gonna
he's
have
about to, I
the
don't know.
video or just the audio?
I just want to do the audio, so I'm going to
Okay.
make sure we can get that done.
Well, that ought to not pose a problem.
I want to make sure we can technically do that without having an issue.
You should have planned for this before you started cross-examining.
I mean, he could just play it from his laptop if
It just-
that's an
Quality's gonna
easier
suck,
way
but
to do it,
okay.
as long as the jury can hear it.
Okay, can you turn it up?
Just put a
Mr.
mic next to
Kokomo.
your
I think that's his name, right?
Yeah,
speaker
We
on
can
your
do it from here.
laptop.
We can do it from here.
I'm sorry, you should have prepared. Too many pauses. I'll read this tomorrow. I'll read that tomorrow. Come on, sir. Come on. She sure has. Yeah. Case is chaotic. The presentation of evidence has been very sloppy. Yeah, that's a terrible
I have no
idea.
idea that's working. There's a lot of an echo there.
I mean, you guys, sir, if you
We'll
knew,
just play it for you so you can see that.
I don't know, where's the organization here?
I just don't want to risk your image being shown.
I appreciate
And
that.
Ellie, I'll still be back tonight at 10 p.m. It was cross-examination. I had to come on here. Cross-examination is my favorite part when it comes to trials. Hopefully I'm able to, I don't know how long Doug's gonna stay. Let me see, it's 3:54. I don't know. But I'd like to watch Shard from the very beginning though. Come on. Oh my goodness, they're so slow with it. Oh,
I'm gonna put all the jewelry in this. We have an evidence bag.
You don't hear it in there?
I don't make that remark. No.
Okay.
yes, sir. Before you ask these witnesses these questions, you need to have confirmation.
I made it, like you said, I made it about the first watch that made it to
Made about
evidence.
the first watch,
Yeah.
which was also a Richard Mille watch,
And
or Mill.
I don't
I don't know how to pronounce it. So you did make it about the first Richard Mille, just not the
That is in
second Richard
evidence.
Mille. Okay.
Yeah, and this is
But
what
they're
I've been
both
saying
Richard
about
Mille
Doug.
watches,
He
correct?
asks
I mean, there were
questions he does
several-
not know the answers
There were
to,
several much more
which is
expensive
problematic
pieces
for
of jewelry that were
cross-examination.
there also. And this is not my first case with a lot of expensive jewelry.
Ooh, all right. All right.
Did you get it? Hold on.
She said she's not committing thievery
Oh, great. Thank you.
of designer watches.
Okay. Let's go back to 512 VV for just a moment.
Okay.
All right, come on, folks.
Look at the, would you read
I'm
that line
expecting
below
fireworks.
again about running like Ricky?
Yes.
And what is the import of running like Ricky?
It's from a movie,
And what movie is that from?
Boys in the Hood.
And what's happening to Ricky in Boys in the Hood that's running like Ricky has become a meme?
He's getting gunned down in a drive-by shooting,
And what's he doing when he's getting gunned down?
running.
And he's running down
This
an
better
alley,
come to
correct?
something.
Yes.
And he's running at a pretty good clip away from the vehicle that is shooting him with the shotgun, correct?
Correct.
Okay. He's not standing on a sidewalk, right?
I didn't insinuate
What?
that.
Sorry.
I didn't
What?
insinuate that.
No, I didn't say you did. I'm just
Okay.
asking
Yeah.
you a
No.
question.
He's running.
Okay.
What?
And he's running away from, directly away from the shotgun that's coming out of a car to shoot him, correct?
Correct.
Okay. This picture here of I guess it's Duke, it's Martinez Arnold, correct?
Yes.
And Diamante
Yes.
Kendrick. This is from June 23rd, 2020, correct?
Correct.
And that is approximately 5 years and 5 months.
What are you referring
after
to?
the
I'm going
killing
to
of
add
Jonathan
you,
Thomas.
Allie, but hold on.
Yes. This picture was more so of importance to me to show the alliance between the
Anyway.
Crips and YSL.
Oh, that's right. That's a hybrid gang, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Hopefully we
And
can
a
both
hybrid gang
hear
It's kind of like a nose of wax, right?
stream,
It's something that you
but
can
you're certainly
twist
free
and
to
pull
join.
so that any type of characteristics that you find can meet the definition of a gang, right?
That's not true.
It isn't true. Why wouldn't that be true?
For example, this hybrid gang with Mr. Arnold, this came about when Mr. Keith Troop died and Mr. Williams gave the eulogy at Mr. Keith Troop's funeral. And if you listen to Mr. Kitchens, he tells the story about how Mr. Williams was put in charge to take care of Mr. Kitchens and guide him. And he's the one that kind of took them under their wing. And it
This
was
is
okay.
supposed
And
to
Mr.
be
Williams was the first one to cross
cross-examination,
color
Doug.
lines when
You're
it came to
supposed to
gangs
be
here in
asking
Georgia. And they
questions
were
where she says yes or
first
no.
uneasy with that,
Not
but Keith Troop explained to their
explanations.
notes, okay, this is something
And
we
this
do
is
now.
what I kept saying.
So
He
that's an
likes
example, and the
asking
Department
why
of Justice
questions.
defines hybrid
You don't
gangs
use why
as a
questions in
gang member's participation in
cross-examination.
multiple gangs, vague rules and code of conduct, gangs or different gangs collaborating together to commit
Oh.
crimes, and there's several other definitions.
What's going on? Oh, that. Come on.
Mhm.
And definitions of hybrid gangs. And it just appears
What are these
that if
comments
something
saying?
doesn't, if a group of individuals don't fit your definition of a gang, that they automatically get classified as a hybrid gang. I'm asking a question about hybrid gang.
Well,
Can you explain what a
Can we
hybrid
get a
gang
ruling?
is?
yes, it's
Yeah.
I gave you part of it. It's traditionally a neighborhood gang or local gang that tries to take on the identifiers of a traditional gang. Like I'm from
Yeah.
New York. The gangs in New York are much more structured. The gangs in LA, Chicago are much more structured. I apologize, I'm from New York. Um, the gangs are much more structured here in Georgia. You'll see there are neighborhood cliques that will adopt the identifiers, like YSL, for example, adopted the identifiers of sex, money, murder. They were sex, money, murder based in the beginning, but then Mr. Williams decided to do his own spin on it. Like I said, when
They
he's very
keep
close
talking
to
about
Keith's
Jeff
truth,
so many times,
when he was deceased, he kind of, or
and he's no
prior to
longer on
that,
trial.
like I said, if you watch, there's history about it where Mr. Kitchens talks about he was sent to go help out Mr. Williams at one point. And at first he was uneasy, like, oh, do we do this? And he said,
Slow down also.
Yeah,
It's
just-
sustained
yeah.
to hearsay.
and that's,
I'm trying to understand.
This
without
is
giving
not the time to
examples,
do that.
if you can define
Doug,
hybrid gang.
it is a neighborhood gang that takes on pieces of traditional gangs. And like I said, you'll have individuals from different gangs working together.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, how are you?
Use of
Good, how
identifiers,
you
like we've
doing?
seen through the presentation
Good.
of evidence here.
I
Like
see what you're
here,
saying about
you have
Doug
the
now. Like,
snake
what?
and the blue
I'm
heart
not
and the
sure
Crips.
even what relevance this
They
really has to
rules and
anything.
code of conduct.
Right, let me
Sex, money, murder,
let me
bloods have a
pause
strong
them
rock-
because what you have to say is very important. Go ahead.
Like the watch. Are they still talking about Young Thug's watch that's missing?
Exactly.
What does that have to do with? I don't understand. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like he's very back and forth, and because
Yeah,
at first I thought that like Max Shard, like because Diamante Kendrick's not really mentioned in much of this. Like it's
right,
all about Shannon, Shannon, Shannon.
right,
So I just thought Max was better at the cross in that sense because it's always been about Shannon.
right.
And so he was kind of sitting back, but now I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, Doug does not know how to cross-examine. Um, the watch, your client is facing, I believe it's 54 counts or something along those lines. Your
Yeah, I was
focus,
looking it up yesterday, and if he's convicted, they were looking at 2 life sentences plus 100 and something years.
oh, that's a lot.
More than
Yeah,
Shannon.
and he's just focused on the watch. Like, sir, there are other avenues you can attack. So I don't know. I'm trying to not get heated because yeah, but I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea what he's doing. But yeah, I don't know. So I'll have this playing, and then obviously we can, make remarks or comment. You're free to leave if you want to leave, but I'll keep this on because I need to know what on earth he's doing because I don't get it.
Are you streaming it at 10 from the beginning?
At 10, I am going to what I typically do. As I start watching the trials, I make notes of timestamps. So there's specific things. Let me get my notes. Hold on. 10, what I want to focus on. Hold on, I just got home. So I did not expect them to conclude direct today, but they did.
Me neither.
Yeah, I thought that would have been, tomorrow thing. Let's see, today. All right, let me see. Okay, so I wanted to focus a little bit on what's her name, Taisha.
Yeah.
I wanted to focus on the recorded or the wiretaps between Taisha and Shannon.
Yeah.
And then I want to focus a bit more on the lyrics. And then, the guns, the firearms. The firearms we need to really focus on because I believe some of the charges in here are convicted felon in possession of a firearm. So that's kind of easy for the state to prove.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then there's a lot of mention about
Even the phone calls between Shannon and his grandma.
Right.
Like
Right.
grandma's holding you down, like
Right. Man.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, don't mess with this lady's grandson.
I know. Granny was holding it down, Miss Betty. I think that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that I want to touch on. But I think there were so many discussions here in today's trial. I'll break down what I can tonight at 10. And then we will, the weekend, the Friday and the Saturday, that's when we're going to have to do a deeper dive.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's a lot to work with here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot to work with. But let's get back to
Mr. Weinstein.
oh my goodness, he's frustrating me. But okay, let me see
Rank
what he's saying.
structure. I don't know a rank structure within YSL. So they take pieces of what they
Rank
like
structure.
and they put their own spin on it, but are still backed by a traditional gang.
So a traditional gang would have a hierarchy, correct?
Correct.
But you, according to I believe the testimony we've heard, YSL as a gang doesn't have a hierarchy.
They don't have, but the Goodfellows, for example, they have,
I'm asking, let's go back to my question.
right.
What YSL?
Right.
Well, here he might pull something off because it's falling apart on her.
Well, the
Yeah,
answer
let's
wasn't
see.
responsive to my question.
Overruled. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. YSL does not have a hierarchy as a traditional gang does, correct?
They don't have a set of leadership like roles. No.
Okay, so in that sense, they wouldn't fit into the definition of a traditional gang.
But they're still welcomed. by
Ma'am,
members
just
of
answer the
YSL.
question.
Can
Oh,
you
now
just
she's
answer my
trying to
question?
get around it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, answer the
So my
question.
question
but
on
right
was,
this.
they
there,
don't fit into the
Jeffrey
definition
was
of a
Correct.
traditional gang.
Jeffrey was the leader of the
So
gang, but she's saying there's
instead,
there's
they
no
get
hierarchy,
slotted
there's no
over to this
leadership.
catch-all
Right.
category of hybrid gang, correct?
I wouldn't call it a catch-all. No.
Okay.
I cannot wait for Shard. He is.
I don't have
I
any
think
further
he's.
questions. Thank you very much.
What? Wait, is he done? No, he's done with cross. No.
Let me just ask y'all some.
How is he done with
scheduling
cross-examination?
issues.
Your guy is facing a lot of counts. Am I tripping?
I think Doug thinks at this point there's not much that they can tie. Well, but the judge said if it goes on appeal, if there's convictions, it'll probably be overturned because of everything that happened before her.
I think it's going to get overturned because I was thinking about it today. Let me see. There's a specific word. Hey, Jerome. Wagwan. Hey, old bag. There's something I wrote here. It was obviously I don't have the specific timestamp on the video because it was live. But Eastern time, this was around 1:35 p.m. And there was a conversation. It's a wiretap between Polka and I believe Shannon, and they were talking about the deletion of Chamel drinks. And as she was reading some of the it's not Facebook, I think it's Instagram posts or something along those lines. She was inserting words that weren't in the post. She ended up saying something instead of some, and that is problematic as far as appeal goes. But I'll explain that further. We need to listen. We need to listen to Shard. I still cannot believe. Listen, here's the thing: that man is not experienced. Doug is not experienced. If you are a criminal defense attorney, a public defender in this position, you're telling your client, you're preparing your client for conviction, okay? Because the chances that they can escape all these counts, slim to none, slim to none. It's highly unlikely in my books for these guys to escape. The murder might be hard for Shannon. I think the what is this? The conspiracy is usually very easy to prove, but the firearms, I don't know. And to think, obviously, it's the state's burden, but to think that the jury is going to acquit your client is a
Are you ready?
what is this? It is
Please
a
the court. Investigator
disservice
Viverito,
to
good
somebody
afternoon.
that's putting their
Good
liberty in
afternoon,
their
Mr. Shard.
hands.
Good afternoon. Okay. Let me just start off with
believe
something
this.
that you said on direct.
I can't believe that man.
When did you start working on this case with the DA's office?
I'm trying to think. I got to probably.
And you see Shard's asking questions
fall
that
of
she would
21,
know.
maybe.
Yeah.
Fall of
How you
2021.
start cross.
And in fall of 2021, when you started working with this case with the DA's office, you were in the section or in the working group with under ADA Love, correct?
Ooh.
No.
Oh.
Okay, who were you under?
Kara Conberry was the deputy district attorney at that time.
All right, and with the DA's office, eventually, you're not with the DA's office now.
Correct.
Okay, but with the DA's office, you worked on this case, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you worked under Kara Convery. Who else did you work under?
Well, she wasn't on the case, but for the case, I worked under Don Geary.
Don Geary. Okay. All right. Now, in your testimony over the last few days, you've spoken about the work that you did on this case with the district attorney's office.
Correct.
And you've given us your opinions about certain things that
lot.
you learned through your work at the district attorney's office, correct?
Some, I don't know. I don't think I've given many opinions.
Okay. As part of your work with the district attorney's office, you reviewed surveillance videos.
Correct.
Okay, you
Ellie, can you answer a
drafted
question by Old Bag? What do you think?
affidavits for search warrants.
Correct.
You collected evidence from Jeffrey Williams' house.
Correct.
You collected
Ellie, are
social
you still
media
there?
posts
Correct.
from various people.
Correct.
Okay, so Old
You
Bag, let me
reviewed
see.
Mr. Stillwell's
I think she's
phones.
evasive.
Um,
So whether she's
you
likable or
reviewed
not, I cannot
music,
speak
in this
to,
case, by
but
various artists.
she
Correct.
seems to be very
Okay,
evasive.
in fact, today, I guess you reviewed a video to make a determination of what type of gun is in a picture, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All those things
Man,
that you did, and there were other
man.
things that you did with the DA's office, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you testified that you were asked by Ms. Hilton, how did you notate your work on this case? And then you
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll put you back in
said
here.
that-
I'll post. Ooh.
you talked about your search warrant affidavits, that you make them thorough.
All right, Ellie.
Right.
I'm
Okay,
sending
but
the link
search
again.
warrant affidavits aren't memorandums, are they?
No.
Okay, they're not police reports, are they?
No.
Okay. And your explanation, you don't have reports written for the work that you did in this case as a district attorney with the district attorney's office, do you?
I have, I think, one or two that were witness memorandums, but other than that, no.
Reports about when you were collecting social media posts?
No.
Got any reports on that?
No.
Okay, about whose addresses you were looking at and whose you weren't?
And Old
Do you have
Bag,
any reports on that?
What do you mean by
do you
addresses?
see the difference in this witness's demeanor
Instagram
during
addresses or
Doug's
Instagram,
cross-examination
which
and
people that you were
Meg's
following on Instagram,
cross-examination?
which people you were looking at their Instagram, what dates you were looking at their Instagram? Do you have reports about that?
No, but they were compiled and each date that they were looked at were noted on the photo.
Okay, so we're just supposed to look at the stuff that you compile and bring to court, and that's good enough to let us fill in all the
Argumentative.
work that you did.
Objection,
Just take
argumentative.
your word for it.
If
Yeah.
it's cross, I'm going to permit it.
She is argumentative. He is
I mean, I'm here to
argumentative.
explain it.
Okay, well, that's fine, but
Right.
Just answer the
you know,
question.
what if we want reports? Do you have
I
reports?
said, the DA, now I work at a different facility. When I worked at the GBI, we had a reporting system. The DA's
Okay.
office doesn't have that. So I would, in my
Right.
affidavits,
You'll
make
notice that
them
she's not as
lengthy.
competitive, and that's
When you
Shard's
see an affidavit
style,
of mine, it's
right?
really lengthy for a reason.
Shard is
Well,
reeling her
that's not
in,
the search warrant
whereas
affidavit. I'm
Doug's
asking about
approach was to
reports,
attack her.
memorandums right now.
When you attack
Okay, and
somebody, they're
you
going
seem
to
be saying,
retreat,
well,
and
there
that's
no
what she was doing.
record-keeping software with the
So that's
district
why
attorney's office that you
Shard
could
has a better approach to
memorialize the work
cross-examination.
you did.
Correct.
Okay, they don't have a typewriter, they don't have
And
computers.
all these questions
they
that
don't
Shard
have
is
Microsoft
asking,
Word,
if
they don't
if
have
Doug was
a pad of
experienced
paper, they
enough,
don't
at
have
least in
pens,
the realm
they
of
don't have
criminal
pencils. Is
defense,
that what you're saying?
he should have been
They do.
asking these questions.
But you just didn't write any reports about any.
Yeah,
of the
Ellie, that's fine.
events that
I'll be
you
back
testified
10 p.m.
last
Eastern
few
time,
years.
10 p.m. Eastern time.
I don't really know anybody
Thanks
that
for
would write a
tuning in,
report
though.
saying on this date I screenshotted this picture. On this date I screenshotted this picture. That's not really a report. That's not an event I would write a report for.
Well, what if I want
All
to know
back, that
exactly
comes from
what-
experience.
what,
That comes from
Instagram
actually doing
addresses,
trials.
what individuals that you looked at on Instagram and which ones you didn't, which ones you checked out what they were posting and which ones you didn't. How would I know if you don't write a report?
Well, if I looked at them, the name would be on the post. And if I didn't, there wouldn't be a picture.
Okay, so again, we're just going with what you say happened years later based on the evidence that you bring into court.
I compiled my findings into a folder and provided it as part of the case file.
Okay. And you didn't write any reports about the work that you were doing in real time, did you?
Regarding, there's a report for Waters
Ma'am,
Road.
answer the question.
And the rest of the investigation, like the investigation into the stabbing of Mr. Bennett, can be found in pretty lengthy affidavits.
So you wrote a report for Waters Road?
I did.
Were you at the DA's office at that time?
I wrote it on a piece of paper. It was a Word document.
So you were able to make a
crazy.
Word document about that work, just not the other work that you did, like when you were reviewing my client's phone, like when
Right.
you were collecting things off of social media, like when you were reviewing surveillance videos. You couldn't write reports for those matters.
Today, with a report management system, I wouldn't write a report for screenshotting social media or reviewing a phone. I traditionally put together a PowerPoint or a visual presentation for trial.
Okay, I didn't ask what you do.
Yeah.
I asked what you did do and didn't do.
But that's what I would do that's what I did back at the DA's office, is what I'm telling you. I would do that today with a report management system, as I did without one. Those things
She's starting
are
to
not
feel
responding to
cornered.
Waters Road. I wanted to make sure it's better suited to put it in an affidavit because it's memorialized in the clerk's office. Systems can get hacked, hard drives can get lost,
Ma'am,
things can get deleted,
ma'am.
files can get lost. So I prefer to anything that's noteworthy, make sure it's memorialized somewhere.
Things can get lost. That's your explanation. You can't lose something if you don't make it, can you?
Which is why
That's
anything regarding
funny.
my investigation is probably in an affidavit.
Yeah, she is
that
getting
uses up-
defensive.
I've
She's getting
hundreds of
cornered.
pages.
Probably in an affidavit.
If you would give me a case that you're
So this
specifically
means
referring
that
to, I can
Shard
take it
has
as
to
an
go
example.
back
In
to
your
the
affidavit,
approach he
I would like
started
you to show
with.
me an affidavit for a search warrant where you list all the Instagram addresses and people that you checked out in March 2022 when you were pulling their posts. I
That
wanna
was
know
cer-
everyone
Did you
that you
guys
searched.
watch
That was served to you in the
Doug's
discovery folder.
cross-examination? If you did, what did
I
you
have the
think?
posts.
Correct. So that's all of them.
All right.
I
I'm
need
not
to
asking
time that.
for the
That
posts.
must have
I'm asking
been,
for a list of the people
man, that was
you
that was
searched.
short.
If you look in the folder, you will see the list of people I searched for.
All right. Okay. All right. Mr. Stillwell,
Hmm.
you have known him since 2012, is that correct?
Approximately, yes.
He was about 17 at the time.
If that's what the math dictates, then yes.
Okay. You know him to be from the Thomasville area of Atlanta, correct?
When I would encounter him, he would not.
Yeah.
He would be more in the mechanics.
Old bag, different,
Fair enough.
disappointing, not surprising.
You know him,
I thought he was
and you-
gonna
and-
come
and
with
you know
better.
personal information about
And
him,
Jerome is
correct?
saying that he always seems nervous.
You know
If
that
he,
he was
if he
raised
is
by
nervous, it's
his
because he's
grandmother, Betty
inexperienced.
Yes.
But he definitely
Okay, you
does
know
not
Betty
know how to
Jackson is
cross-examine.
the mother of his biological
This,
father, and
Correct.
that's where the
in my
Jackson comes
opinion,
from.
is a case he
And
should have
Stillwell
passed
comes
on
from
to
his mother.
somebody else or let
And you
another
know that
firm
his mother
take
has never been
over,
part of his life.
because
You know that
I do not
she,
doubt that somebody else
was
would
a
have done a
very
better
bad
job.
drug addict.
Objection relevant, Your Honor?
It's going to explain
Is the judge asleep? What's going on?
communications on the phone.
All right, overruled.
And you know that she's now deceased.
I know that she's deceased. I don't know the circumstances.
Yeah, Doug definitely,
Yeah, you know that, and
he's easily
Betty
defeated.
Jackson raised Mr. Stillwell, and you've met Betty Jackson before?
I have.
Okay.
And we can compare
And,
this to
you identified her voice on the jail phone.
Simone
And also
Hilton.
in your view,
She's had moments
you used
where
the phone,
defense kept
the extraction of the phone.
objecting, but she was able to
You
recover.
saw her number under the name Boss Lady.
Correct.
Doug gives up. Obag says one thing about love.
You know, Mr.
Right.
Jackson.
Yeah, love was
has ninth grade education, correct?
that woman persevered. Okay,
Okay.
She,
You know him to be
she
a high school
persevered
graduate.
for
I
sure.
don't know that.
Okay. As far as his occupation, as far as you've known him, you know, let's be real for a second.
All right.
You've reviewed his phones.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay. You saw mentions of drugs, weed, pills in his phones.
For sale, yes.
Okay, for sale, right. Okay. There was indications in his phone that in 2022, he was selling drugs.
Correct.
Okay. And also in his
Straight up.
phone, you saw substantial evidence of his aspirations to become a musician, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
And here's the
you've
thing with
seen
Shard,
social media posts with him
he
and Mooney
loops his
Lee at
theory into
the
every witness.
studio.
He's asked,
Yes.
I think, a
Social
good
media
number of
posts
these
where he asked
witnesses
members upcoming projects.
Yes.
about
You've
Shannon's
seen,
music interests. So that's good.
You saw on YouTube that short video Slap Talk, correct?
That was on his Instagram profile, but yes.
Okay. Did you note at the time that you captured that Instagram post with the song how many views it had?
I did not.
Would you dispute that it was 17,000?
I don't know.
She
'cause I
wouldn't.
didn't
She
know
doesn't know.
All right. And you also
Yep,
observed in
I
his
agree.
phone his
Very good attorney.
communications with other individuals that were rapping, correct?
I mean,
You saw communications with Mooney Lee.
with Mooney Lee, yes.
Okay. And you saw different references and conversations about renting studio time.
Correct.
There
in
we
his
go.
phone.
He's
Even-
sticking with a
We're
theme.
talking about in March 2022. On March 8th, for instance, there was a discussion about him going to the studio.
Sure.
March 9th, going into the 10th, discussion with Mooney Lee about going to the studio. The Yo is what they call it, correct?
Correct.
Evening of March 10th, discussion of going to the studio run by Mook Tovin.
Correct.
And you know Mook Tovin to be someone who runs a studio, correct?
Producer of some sort, yes.
And you saw the evidence of, you see file transfers on those dates from Mook Tovin and other people transferring audio files.
Correct.
Okay. And that's consistent with someone making music in the studio and in their work.
I wonder how
transferred
much
to them
Shannon's
at the end
paying
of the
this
night
guy.
by the
He's
studio engineer.
worth every dime.
Evening of March 11th, discussions with Mooney Lee about going to the studio.
Yes.
March 12th, booking a session at the studio.
Yes.
If these two
Afternoon of-
defendants
or,
get
excuse me,
off, Yak needs
the
to
evening of
pay
March
Shard some money. He's gonna owe
their
Shard some
investigation.
legal fees.
And I
The
know
Shard
that
is really
we're
going
going to
to
talk
work.
about 10 o'clock and Windsor Street, but later on in the evening, talking about
I agree, old bag.
your investigation revealed that Mr. Still was in the studio.
Yes.
In fact, when people were looking for him, he informed his grandmother that he was in the studio.
No, Granny.
I don't know if I remember that, but I know he did after the murder of Schmel Drink. They were at the studio. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
he definitely has
you've
helped
observed
every defendant.
some of,
In
Shannon's
this
music.
case, he's excellent.
I have.
This guy is really
You've
good.
observed a lot of music in your profession.
I have.
You observe a lot of music. Let's
I
just put
have.
it that way. You're familiar with drill music, correct?
Yes.
Drill music is something that extends beyond Atlanta.
It does.
It's worldwide, correct?
You see, he
And
asked
throughout the
very
US. I'm not
basic
too familiar with it
questions that
internationally.
somebody in Viverito's position would know.
Common themes of drill music, brutality and violence.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Like these are
Okay.
statements she
Who's
cannot
the
even
baddest, who's the toughest, who's the most
argue
powerful?
with.
Correct.
A lot of bragging.
Correct.
Okay. Claims about women, about who gets the most women. Is that a recurring theme?
Yes.
Bragging about the guns people own and carry.
Yes.
Okay. Bragging about how much money people have.
Yes.
Bragging about homicides, whether it's true or not.
Some.
She said some.
It's a type of music, and whether you like it or not, and I'm not suggesting you like it, and I'm not suggesting I like it,
Oh, I love it.
but it glorifies violence.
I love drill music.
I don't know if I would use the term glorifies because there are a number of drill rappers that have been charged with homicide.
Okay.
or engage in violent acts. So I don't know if it glorifies. There's two sides. It can glorify it, and it can also tell the story. So there's two different sides to it.
Okay. So one side, you know people that are in drill music that have been charged with crimes.
What I'm saying is, music of that you're describing often
She
feeds
loves
into
this
violence.
thing.
Okay. And you don't like that, do you?
I don't.
You
I
feel
don't like
it-
anybody getting hurt.
Okay. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You feel it feeds into violence. Okay. And what I'm asking though is when you said it glorifies, you said, I know some people who are in drill music. that
Let me
have been
see.
charged
What
with
is
crimes.
this chat
Correct.
saying?
Okay, and you also know a lot of drill music where
She's a
people
super fan.
claim they did this and claim they did that.
Correct.
And it's not
Somebody
always
said
bad.
hostile witness. She's not a hostile witness.
No, but being a drill artist doesn't negate the fact that you engage in violence.
Okay, you may.
It could go either way, but being
Right.
a drill artist doesn't negate that fact.
That's fine.
They're saying Max is looking
Okay.
like a PD. Are they saying
Common
public
terms
defender?
in drill music, ops.
I don't know what that
Correct.
means. I wanted to
Stands
say
for
police
opposition.
department, but that would not
And,
even make
and that
sense.
is a recurring theme that you almost hear in every song. Isn't that fair to say?
In every song and almost every investigation that I work, yes.
Okay. And if we, and we're not going to do it, but if we Google and get on YouTube and type in rap ops, we'll see dozens of songs with ops in the title,
Correct?
including by well-known artists.
Correct.
All right. Glizzies. Glizzy is a term that comes up a lot in drill music, correct?
Correct.
So gun.
No deflecting.
Yes, but I don't know if I've heard that used that much by
All
these
right.
folks that we investigated with this.
I'm
Yeah,
just talking about.
it does. Guns do come up, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's in one of Shannon's songs,
Okay.
Lizard Walk.
Okay.
Somebody
Okay.
said Doug
And,
snapped. I don't know
that's
what they're talking
a
about. We did not watch the
term
same
that comes up a lot in
cross-examination.
drill music.
Glizzy, Blick, Phi, whatever you want to call it.
Red light. It's another one.
Shannon
Comes up a
sold
lot
dope
in
at the
drill
studio. The
music,
jury
right?
knows he
Red light.
wasn't always up there
hear
making
that as
music.
often.
That's what. Okay,
Okay,
that's somebody on here.
You ever hear of the song Red Light by Future?
I have not.
You heard the lyrics? Yeah, and this
I know
shit
this red light
real out
song
here
that
running through the
I
red
heard.
light,
I believe that was from
looking
Shannon.
through
That
your
was
rear
played
view
today.
and
To me, it
might just
sounded
sneak up on the
like
car and try to spray
he was
you.
rapping
Hear that?
about drinks, but
Heard
I
that
might be
lyric?
wrong. I'd have to actually
No,
take a
but
better
if
look.
Mr. Wilburn
at the
was
lyrics.
engaged in a homicide at a red light, I probably would have looked into it.
Old bag said, do
Okay.
attorneys
I
take
didn't ask
psychology
anything about
classes?
a
Why are you
homicide.
asking? I need to know why you're
Otherwise,
asking, and
ask
then
if
I'll
you heard the
answer.
lyric.
But yes,
Okay,
but
well,
it was
I'm
something I
just-
would look at.
Okay. Chalk. Chalk you out, chalk them up. Slime and chalk. Those are
Slime and chalk, I'm familiar with, yes.
all right. Those are things that you would hear in drill music, correct?
Slime and chalk, I've heard. The others, I don't know if I've heard.
All right.
What are they saying? I know Hilton not getting tired of my boy talking, and she talked the whole day.
We heard
They said, yep, the newlyweds.
5 songs by Mr. Stillwell.
What are these people
Yes.
saying?
And they were let's see, Slat Talk, Ran This Money,
Said it.
Bullshit, Lizard Walk, and Red Light.
Yes.
And all those songs, you have identified Mr. Stillwell, and they were in Mr. Stillwell's phone.
Correct.
Okay, and just to be clear, there were other songs in Mr. Stillwell's.
Homeless people have
as
money, blah, blah,
Correct.
blah.
Okay, so we heard
He's a
5 of all
poser,
the songs that Mr. Stillwell had on his
Annoying.
phone.
Correct.
And do you know, outside of his phone, how many other songs Mr. Stillwell has made?
I know through the years I've seen him make a few, but I couldn't give you a number.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're
Now,
saying, old
With
bag.
those songs,
Let me see. Psychology. Unless you
do
take
you know?
in undergrad.
No, and on direct, I said I
Mm.
can only see the date that they were
Let me see.
added to the device.
I've not seen.
Right, and you don't.
Have I seen a
let's just be clear,
psychology
the date
course?
that they were added to the device was
I don't think I've seen one, but that does not mean that it doesn't
file
exist.
transfer according to the-
What Shard is really doing, that is just,
Correct.
that is classic
317. You don't believe that
cross-examination. That's what you're
on the morning
supposed
of
to do
317,
in
he was in the
cross-examination.
studio
So obviously you
other
can
songs.
tell that, let me quickly
Not to
pause
say
here.
that one or two of them couldn't have been made.
This is classic cross-examination. For cross-examination, your witness or the witness you're cross-examining is only supposed to say two things: yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So Shard has clearly mastered cross-examination, which a lot of attorneys have not mastered. And part of the reason is because he knows how to separate himself from the case. Um, I mean, I've not really seen Shard lose his cool, because even somewhere midway here, him and Viverito, or whatever her name is, were going back and forth, but not to the same extent as Doug. Doug kind of lost control of the witness. So whether it's it might be psychology. Because I'm trying to think. I did not take psychology. I know I've taken criminology, forensic medicine, but that's related to cause of death and manner of death and things of that nature. He just has really he has mastered the basic skills of cross examination. He knows how to do it properly. Whereas Doug, I don't know what he was doing, because he was arguing with the witness. You cannot be doing that. You cannot get heated, because you're the attorney. You have to control the witness.
Made in the days prior, but I can't give you exact dates on them.
Okay. So we don't know when they were when they were made. Do we know when they were written?
No,
Do we know who wrote the lyrics?
we don't.
Okay.
You're
and
welcome.
In fact, on one of the songs, Red Light, it says featuring Vito.
I thought
right?
that Red Light song was nice, though.
Correct.
You know Vito to be a songwriter, not an artist, a songwriter for 300 Entertainment, correct?
He could be, yes.
And old bag, I'm just going to add, in order to get a witness to answer yes or no to questions, you have to know the answers to those questions. For example, basic questions such as whether drill music is violent or something along those lines. Anybody and everybody knows. Anybody and everybody that has ever heard drill music, the lyrics, knows that the genre is what is this? Violent. Whereas if we go back to Doug, he's still talking about that stupid watch. But you could clearly tell that he did not even know where the watch was. He kept asking these questions that he had no answers to. So that's why that's why he's a skilled cross examiner, because he's just sticking to the very basics of proper cross examination.
Okay. Some of these songs that we heard have the typical ops, red light, glizzy, homicide, typical things that are hallmarks of drill music, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, also, in one of the songs,
What's up, Jerome? Do you want me to add you?
Stillwell makes reference to his bankroll, right?
Correct.
Okay. Bankroll is the amount of money you have,
Correct.
the wad of cash.
Correct.
And you see,
All right.
she's basically
And he's
agreed,
bragging about his bankroll.
because he's asking very basic questions, which, she cannot go one way or the
And
other.
that's what he's saying.
Yes or no?
That's what he's releasing to the public through this song.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Jerome, no problem. I'll be back at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Do you know him to own a car?
No.
Do you know him to own a house?
No.
Do you know him to be independently wealthy?
I mean, sometimes, yes. He has a lot of money on him.
Okay. His bankroll, is that something that artists often talk about, their bankroll and how big it is?
All right, sounds
Is
good.
that always true, that the artists that are bragging about their bankroll,
Jerome, that was for you, by the
is
way.
really as big as they're claiming it is in their songs?
That's an individual basis.
Okay. Could it be you ever heard the term, like my son says it all the time, cap? Like
Cap.
just made up, cap.
It could be, but that's not necessarily the case with Mr. Stillwell Jackson.
I'm asking.
Yeah, answer the question.
Okay, and artists cap on songs
What's
all the time, don't they?
Some do, some
Okay.
don't.
And Mr. Stillwell, in his songs, was claiming that he had a bankroll.
And he did sometimes. Yes, he did sometimes.
Well, on the phone,
Yeah, just answer the question.
Correct.
you saw him basically begging Miss Alexander to give him $1,500.
But if you listen to the March 16th wiretap call, he talks about all the money he had,
Okay.
and he didn't want to go to jail with all
Yeah,
that
but
money.
let's stick to the
So he had
one
a lot
day
of-
though.
it fluctuates from day to day. So I don't know. Some days he has a bankroll, some days he has no roll. So
Okay. Did he have a bankroll? Do you know if he
I
had a
agree,
bankroll to
Jerome.
pay
Very
for this?
evasive.
do not.
Okay. Could that have been cap?
Could have been. He could
Yeah,
have been
could-
reminiscing about when he had his
And
bankroll.
you see, this is what makes Shard a brilliant cross examiner. He builds to what he's actually trying to get to, right? He starts off by asking her about whether she knows what the word cap means, and if she claims to be an expert and knows a lot about gangs or whatever it is, then obviously she's going to know what the word means. And then he goes on to talk about his client's financial status. And then he basically gets her to agree that there's a possibility, okay? There's a possibility that he was just lying about all this money. He's brilliant. And honestly, all of this, very basic. If Doug had in fact spent a significant amount of his career in criminal courts, he would know how to do this, but it's whatever.
In these songs, while we're talking about cap, let's see. Mr. Stillwell referred to himself as Big Slime.
Yes.
Okay, you ever hear anyone else refer to Mr. Stillwell as Big Slime?
I'm trying to think. He's been referred to as Big Slime and Life Size Lizard.
Five.
Right, that's what he calls himself.
He's also
five.
referred to as that. I've heard him.
So 5.
So he was claiming to be Big
Still
Slime
working. I'm billing.
in the song that he wrote
I am billing.
or performed. Okay. Then we got, let's see,
Let's see, what else do we have here?
Dolly White in one of his
Some of
songs.
these.
Dolly, yes.
She brags about making $201K in a day.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know? Is there any evidence that you have that on that day that Dolly White was claiming that she made 201K that day, that she actually made $201,000 that day?
A, I wouldn't know what day it is to be able to tell you. She could have been on Instagram or somewhere bragging about having 200K. So without knowing the day, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that Dolly White, I'm not talking about Jeffrey Williams, I'm talking about Dolly White, has ever made $201,000 in a day in her life?
Obviously
I
not.
couldn't tell you what Miss
Yep.
Brewer makes.
Could that have been cap?
Could have been.
Could, but also could not have been.
She's a bit evasive, but
So,
could have been.
we talked about the lyrics on Direct. In these songs, Mr. Stillwell never mentioned an infinity,
No.
never mentioned.
And I want to take a deeper
Monday,
dive
10
into these
times.
lyrics. That's probably going to be Friday or Saturday.
Never
That's what we're going
mentioned
to talk
Demise
about.
McMullen or Nard.
No.
Never mentioned Justin Cobb or Doo-Wop.
No.
he mentioned being arrested for a homicide and beating it.
I don't want. I'm going to tread lightly on it. I don't know. Can I get some direction on? how to
He said I beat.
Ma'am,
Okay, but I just want to make
answer.
sure I'm approaching it correctly. You know,
Yeah, I'll ask you a very targeted question.
okay.
He mentioned on Slat Talk, I beat a murder rap.
Yes, he did.
Paid my lawyer $30 for that.
He did mention that.
Okay. He also mentioned beating a homicide on another song, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Great, we're gonna do it.
You have, the fact is that Mr. Stillwell, he's on trial for that here today. At the time he wrote those lyrics, he had never beaten a homicide.
We don't know that.
That's a real slippery slope.
Yeah, we don't know
I
that.
want to say some. If I can get some.
He had never been cleared or went to trial and was found not guilty of a homicide.
Question. That's a good way of putting it.
Yes.
Yes.
That is a better way of putting it. Okay. All right. So, OBAG, Jerome, that's what we're going to do this weekend. We are going to take a deeper dive and take a look into these lyrics. If you know specific clips, because I have notes, I don't always write dates on my notes to know when they discussed what. So, if you have specific clips, please send them to me at iwantarreallawyer@gmail.com. Then let's see, what's Allie saying? We need to talk about this mess with you later. What are you saying, Allie? We need to talk about this mess when, well, I think you're saying when you're on later, that is happening right now. Oh no, for sure. Well, definitely. Yep. I mean, it's been an interesting trial overall, but it's possibly, there are a lot of lessons to be learned in this trial. A lot of lessons to be learned, such as obviously how to cross-examine or how not to cross-examine. We could use Doug for that. And then for love and steel, I put love and steel together because in my books, they're both insufferable. So we could also learn how to conduct yourself in a court. But the biggest one is probably for the judge. Don't have an ex parte. I've never heard of that. Don't have an ex parte meeting without inviting defense. I think the only thing, let me see, the only thing that, or the only ruling, no, that's a broad way of putting it. There's a specific ruling that Page handed down that I thought was ludicrous. And this was, it had to do with the no. It had to do with evidence being turned over. There was specific evidence that the state had not turned over. And Page on the, I'll have to find the specific day. But Page literally told Steele that the evidence sought is not incriminating, and Steele told her that it is up to the defense attorney to make that determination, which is correct. So, yeah, let's see. I need to put my glasses on. Old Bag said, did you already watch Sylvia's interview, Shannon's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend? Yeah, we reacted to that. Today is what, Monday? I believe on Saturday.
We need the witness.
All right, thanks, Jerome. I'll appreciate that.
The witness is walking back.
Where are they going? What's going on?
So Mr. Short asked you a very specific question and you seem to have answered in a way that surprises everybody. So we need to get some clarity from you. Okay, so can you listen really carefully to what his question is and answer that question? And then if
Right.
your answer is still the same, we need to ask some follow-up of you. I mean, okay, go ahead.
In the songs that we reviewed, Mr. Stillwell claimed to have beat a homicide, correct? Or beat a
Correct.
murder rap, beat a homicide.
Correct.
Okay. Did he in fact beat a murder rap or beat a homicide, as he claimed?
I think he,
Go ahead and explain
What
it
is she
now,
saying?
because the jury's not in here.
Yes,
We're just
here.
trying to sort out what
I
it
think
is.
from my understanding of Mr. Stillwell back in that time, he was under the impression that the Donovan Thomas case had been, that they were going to beat it. Like they were about to beat it, or it was beat, or it wasn't going to be an issue. I didn't want to say that because I didn't
Well,
know.
that's good that you didn't
Yes.
say that.
Yeah.
But that's not the question that he asked
I'm
at
not
the
asking
time.
what Mr. Stillwell thought. I'm
Okay.
asking-
Yeah. Then no.
So listen
Okay.
very carefully to what he actually, I mean, that's not what he asked a minute ago, but you don't have like knowledge that
Yeah,
nobody else
well, back,
has,
that was
that
a
he
crazy, let
tried
me
for
find it.
Oh,
second-degree
no, no, no.
murder and
I'll
got
find it.
a
Let me
hung
find
jury
it.
or an acquittal,
No,
right?
Your Honor. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure.
I'll find the
Mr.
episode
Short
for you.
asked you, has he ever beaten one, and by beaten, I mean, gotten an acquittal or however he phrases it. What would your answer be then?
No, I just didn't know
Okay.
the specific outcome of if it was.
Has he
Dismissed
even
and
been
re-indicted?
tried for
No.
another murder?
Right.
He has
Okay,
not
so
been
don't
tried.
say, I don't know the specific outcome if he has never been tried for one other than the one he's on trial for right now, okay?
Yeah,
You understand?
I
Stop
just thought, I
yelling,
didn't know if he
Judge.
meant it was dropped. That was all, Your Honor.
That's not what was asked.
But that's not what he just asked right here, Your Honor. And
I
think
know
that's
that.
the-
I know that.
I think that's the clarity that needs to be had, because at the time, Mr. Stillwell was on bond.
Good judge is done.
That is not anywhere near what he asked. He asked, has he ever been tried for and acquitted of murder? Being given a bond before a trial ever occurs does not a yes answer for, has he ever been tried and acquitted?
Right, but even the question he just asked right now was not that direct.
I know,
question.
that's
So
because,
that's the-
I know, but just now what he asked, we're just trying to figure out what it is she might mean. And are you then going to ask?
I'll ask about the bond next.
Okay. So if he asked about bond, then you can answer
I-
whatever you know about whether he was released on bond.
I can be
Okay?
respectful of his rights, Your Honor. That's all.
Okay. Is anybody need any more clarity on?
I definitely do, because I think on redirect,
Okay.
All right, I just posted the link, old bag.
at the time he wrote.
And then let me see. Old bag says, why does the judge seem so annoyed with this lady?
Did he believe?
The judge has always,
would
I
ask
think
him to
that
ask that,
Paige
because how
has
on
been
earth can
annoyed
she know
ever
what is in his
since.
head?
I
would
like to
ask
say
it,
the
but I
second
wouldn't
day,
rule it if
2 days
objections are
in, she
made.
was over this case. 2 days
understand, Your
in,
Honor.
And
she
you
was
point that, if
over it.
that is in evidence, then you point that out in closing argument.
I think we will put them in now.
So you see,
Well,
the
it's-
judge, I don't want to read too much into
Y'all
her
have to
saying that,
make a decision, each of you,
pointed
as
out
to
in closing
where you want
arguments,
to
because
take
that
the
would
case,
kind of
but-
insinuate that a motion for directed verdict is not going to
Do we
go
have
through,
clarity
but
now?
I think I'm clear. Yes.
she might just be, I don't know, speaking and not forecasting.
That's a direct question about whether or not
Then I
he's tried
can
or
see.
convicted. You're gonna ask that direct question. And then you're gonna ask about.
What happened to Love, though? That's what I really would like to
And
know.
then, I mean, Mr. Abadi, you suggested that you might then introduce evidence that he said what were you saying?
Well, I think
Open.
I have to find the call, but I think that.
All right. As for this, what am I going to do with it? That's a real question.
The time that he wrote those songs, and he's been on bond for a number of years, he makes all of that very relevant as it relates to like diving into why he said that.
Yeah, don't open that door.
I think the whole point is it's a very slippery slope, because we begin to talk about things that I don't
Right.
necessarily we all want to get into as it relates to objections and objections for mistrial, because all of these questions allow us to then ask on redirect the specifics as it relates to when he made the song, based on bond, things of that nature. You can argue as to the belief as to why he did her. It had been 3, 4, however many years. So he had not
Well,
been
you can
indicted.
ask the had he been on bond 3, 4, however many years. What you cannot ask this witness is, so then do you think he believed he beat it? I mean, that is something that this witness can't testify to, that I know of. If you have some reason to believe you think she can testify. to
Love
it,
made a
I mean,
a surprise
I put the
appearance
two and
maybe
two
2 or 3
together.
weeks ago,
He'd
but
been
then she
out for
disappeared again.
17 years on bond and not been, tried yet.
Oh,
Then that's
Lord.
something that is not beyond.
Not love.
Juror, and you can argue that. in your
Not
closing.
love.
You can't
No.
ask this witness that question.
I don't
Okay.
exactly know
Everybody clear now?
who should close
Okay.
for the
All
state.
right, we'll get the jury back.
I don't want love walking around as
How
if
long do you-
she's some
is there gonna be like a
preacher.
natural
No,
stopping point?
no, she's gonna be walking around with a
I
mic.
don't mind keeping
No,
until 6.
There'll be a natural stop.
no.
And,
not
and I'll be,
love.
If we do that, we have 5 minutes
Right now?
recess, just 5 minutes.
I don't know. I've had enough of love and
Yes.
steel. I truly do not want
Yes,
to
we
hear about
can,
those
because I don't
two
want to break
again.
yet again. If we're
And
gonna
if
go
I
for
feel
another
this
hour
way,
or so.
the jury probably feels the same way about them. So they need to find somebody else. They need somebody else. Let's see, what were these comments saying? Oh, I need to get my glasses again. I'm about done working. It's almost 5 p.m. over here. I'm gonna react to this a little longer, and then I'll be back at 10. Yeah, let's see. What are these people even talking about? Yes, no. Somebody said Big Mac's not the low one. Yeah, I still cannot get over. No, Jerome, I don't dispute that Love, if she's the big dog, because I believe her title, let's look her up. Adrian Love, whatever her title is, so probably she might be, I don't know, she sounded like she was second in command or something along those lines. But as far as, I don't know, I'd go with somebody else and not Love. If I work for their office, I'd go with somebody else, not Love. I probably would not go with, would I go with Hilton? I'm not sure. I'm torn. But I think Hilton has done a better job, and she does not seem to be as overwhelmed now that there are only 2 defendants. So I thought her direct of, who's this, Viverito, was good. And I measure that by how she was able to recover whenever defense objected. So I thought she was very good at re-asking her questions. I guess whoever is going to close is somebody that actually know all the details of the trial. They should have 2 people close, I'd like to say. I mean, any of the men, I think would Atkins. I think he would have a decent closing. I don't even want to think about Doug's closing because I don't know. I don't want to think about that. But Shard obviously is going to bring it because Shard has a theory. He has a theory, and he's going to bring it to life. But Love, no, I don't want Love back up there again. Yeah, I think Atkins would. He'd make a decent argument. He would be better, but Love, no, I don't want to see that woman on the TV on my screen again. I did not want to see her again. She need no, not Love. Definitely not Love. Let's see, what else are they saying out here? Let's see. Yeah, they're calling them as cocky pants. Well, I bring it up then. What are these people? I don't know why they keep calling her these names. saying defense gonna impeach her. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Somebody said it's crazy talk. Yeah. I don't know with this Viverito. Yeah, an old bag agrees. Atkins would. He'd do well. Who's this? I was gonna say something. I got distracted. Wonder how much longer they're gonna come back for. No, an hour, 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't know why Doug. I don't know why he rushed through that cross-examination. It was. He did not rush. He just did not know how to conduct it. Oh, Fox 5. Let me see if I can find it. Why do you think it's a better chat? What are they talking about? Let me find it. Is this them? I think. Are they back already? Okay, Fox 5 is kind of behind though. From goodness. Yeah, Fox 5 is kind of behind. Quality is a bit. I'm gonna see what that chat's talking about. Some days he's wealthy. Some days they need food stamps. This is what somebody wrote on here. So somebody said, but I need to move this closer. Somebody's saying that. Hold on. What did they say? I need to go back here. I have to share this screen. Hold on. This is Fox 5. I don't know. The chat's kind of stuck. So. All right. I'll check it out. Why do you think it's better though? That's he still did not answer my question. Why do you think the Fox 5 chat is better than Law and Crime? Is this connected? Yep, my mic is connected. It's kind of dark out there. All right, come on, folks. I'm surprised Whitaker does not have these people in court until, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you.
Come on.
Okay, investigate Viverito. I'm going to go back to where we were before. In those songs, in Slap Talk,
Correct?
Mr. Stillwell says, I just beat a murder rap, paid my lawyer $30 for that.
Correct?
Okay, and in other songs, he says, I beat a homicide.
Oh, okay.
My first question.
All right. I'll start out with them tomorrow because I have timestamps.
To your knowledge, in this case, I'm talking about Donovan Thomas.
All right.
Had Mr. Stillwell ever been acquitted or the case been dismissed?
No.
Okay. The case was still open, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So he had not, in fact, beat a homicide.
Correct.
He had not, in fact, beat a murder rap.
Correct.
Yet he claimed that on
Man,
his
this guy's
songs.
good.
Correct.
Also, he claimed to pay his lawyer 30 for that. Do you know
How much
if
did they
he
pay you,
actually
Chart?
paid a lawyer anything?
I don't believe he's the one that paid the lawyer,
Ooh,
but a lawyer was paid
ooh.
Do you know a lawyer's been paid?
at some
What
point.
lawyer?
He was represented at some point.
What lawyer?
I don't know which lawyer he was. I said at
Well, you
some
just said
Girl.
you know the lawyer's been paid, and now I'm asking you what lawyer?
Right.
a lawyer back then would have been paid for him. I don't know.
What's the lawyer's name? Since you had an opinion on it,
You-
that lawyer had been paid, what is that lawyer's name?
All I said
Chart is
was
fired up.
if he had a lawyer, they would have had to have been paid somehow. I don't know how or who.
Okay, so you don't
Right.
know how much anyone.
I did not work on the Donovan Thomas case at all.
So why are you answering? So
And
why
so you
you
don't know
why
how
are you
much,
answering if you've
who,
not worked?
or how much anyone had been paid.
My
I just said I
goodness.
don't know who his lawyer was or how much or how they were paid.
So why were
The
you
reality
talking
is
about it?
Mr.
Jerome
Stillwell
said a lot more jokes and
was released
facts
on
you will
bond.
like. It looks like I'm
He
getting
didn't
off
beat anyone
early.
to
I
death. He had been
definitely
released
will
on
be
bond.
here at 10. Oh, fantastic.
Okay, so
Cannot wait for you
claim
to
on being under
join.
wrap, that was cap.
if you want to call it cap. I was
Just
incorrect.
answer the question. Just answer the
Claim that he
question.
paid a lawyer 30 for that. We don't know. We don't even know who the lawyer is.
Correct.
Okay. He also said in Lizard Walk, bond was $500,000
It's
N-word. Remember that?
a lot
Yes.
of money.
Okay. Do you know Mr. Stillwell's bond in the case that he paid for Donovan Thomas? Do you know it to have been $500,000?
Believe it was almost not 500,000, but it was a very high amount.
Okay. Was it $500,000?
I think if I remember correctly, it was 300,000.
Was it $500,000?
It was not.
Just
Okay, so
answer
that
the
was incorrect. That was
question.
cap as well, correct?
Sure.
She said he didn't pay what? Then she acts like she does or doesn't know.
Mr. Stillwell,
This cross would be
since
so much easier for her if she just answered the question.
October
Like, answer the
2015,
questions.
has been charged with the Donovan Thomas murder, correct?
Because
I'm not sure the exact date. he was
Because
charged,
even
but
for the
Late
prosecution,
2015.
the prosecution can explain that away. So I don't know why she's trying to just do your job. Don't try and, play. I don't know much
And-
about sports, but is a defense.
In these songs, he openly talks about being charged for that murder, correct?
yes.
Okay.
This can
And
be
he talks
easily
about
explained
the
or
money he paid
corrected on
lawyers.
direct. Answer the questions.
He talks about the money, the extravagant amounts of money that he paid for bond, $500,000.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not saying you like it. I'm not saying I'm like it. Do you deny that potentially an artist, an aspiring artist, being charged in a high-profile case,
All right.
beating a high-profile case, paying large amounts of bond, would be
Compound
something
objection.
that would be appealing in the world of drill music? Do you deny that?
No.
Engaging in violence and homicide skyrocket you to the
Man,
corporate ladder and drill music.
answer the question.
And he was saying he had been charged and
Correct.
beaten.
Correct.
Sheesh.
Mr. Atkins, could you, or Mr. Abate, or Miss Hill, could you do me a favor? Or Miss Knight's back. 436 VVA, please, if you could display that for me.
Honestly, Doug could have gone through all the evidence that was presented against his client, but I don't know. I think he's just winging it. I don't even think he prepped for this. I don't think he prepped. All right, come on, folks.
Okay, this is my client, correct?
Correct.
And again, this is him while he's trying to be an aspiring artist, correct? This time period?
I guess.
Okay. And first of all, let me just clarify one thing. In the background, we see a gas station. That is the gas station on Cleveland Avenue, correct?
I believe that's 221 Cleveland.
Okay. That's not McDaniel Street.
No.
Okay. Now, Mr. Stillwell, in this post, also makes reference to Donovan Thomas, doesn't he?
He does.
Okay. He makes reference in the hashtag Peanut Stone Grave.
Mm.
Okay. Publicly, he is tethering himself to that incident.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So where
And
we going
in
with the hook?
In the message he writes, in the caption, it says, "I fell off 100 times, 100 times I bounced back." Okay.
Correct.
All right, where are we
Let's
going?
talk about some things that happened prior to this post
All right.
about falling down 100 times.
Okay.
Mr. Stillwell, prior to this post, had someone drive by the green store and shoot at his head, did he not?
Correct.
Man,
Okay.
this guy's good.
Mr. Stillwell, prior to this post, was driving in a car
He's good.
with a young lady named Tiara Jones and another lady named Ms. Duncan, and a car sped up behind that
Hmm.
car and started shooting at them, correct?
Correct.
And killed Tiara Jones and put Mr. Stillwell in the hospital.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stillwell, after he spoke to the investigators about the Tiara Jones case, was attacked on social media for talking to the police.
He knows his case in and out.
All those things happened before he made this post about falling off 100 times and bouncing back.
A lot of things happen, yes.
Okay.
He's a brilliant attorney.
Does this post ever say, "I killed Donovan Thomas"?
Obviously not. So you have to say
He's
no.
attaching himself to the.
Ma'am, just
You're
answer the
absolutely right. He's
question.
attaching himself to the fact that the police arrested him and people have been attacking him ever since. Isn't that true? I've been knocked down. I fell off 100 times, and 100 times I bounced back.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
All right, come on.
Okay, I'd like to talk to you about some of the work you did in collecting the posts from social media. And again, I don't mean to harp on this. Maybe I'm not asking correctly. I understand that you have given how many total social media posts did you pull within a folder?
I don't know. They were all compiled into a folder of relevant posts.
Okay, you say relevant posts.
Correct.
What you
So-
saying?
Who determined if they were relevant?
Right. The DA's
If it had
office.
anything to do with the hyper violent back and forth, I felt that they were relevant to the investigation.
Okay, again, I'm gonna ask, who determined if they were relevant?
Right. The DA's office. You.
If I felt like they were
So
anything,
you
I would,
determined.
from
you
my, as being the person that's listening and monitoring the wiretap and knowing the ins and outs of what's going on, I was able to.
Hey,
determine what was
Callie.
relevant.
What live did you make?
What was relevant?
Correct.
Okay. And I understand that we have a thing of posts. What I want to know, when you're on Instagram, do you have notifications set for when people post?
Mm.
Are you scrolling Instagram? Are you looking at certain people's pages and not other people's pages? How are you doing it?
We were monitoring both sides of the conflict, and it's not just me. There are several people
Right.
that would monitor. We'd all look together
I'm talking
collectively.
about the social media posts.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're monitoring both sides.
I'm pretty sure that's
Part of
what
my
you
job is to
testified
mitigate
to
violence.
indirect.
So as a conflict is occurring, we're monitoring both sides of the conflict. So when we see, it's a constant job of monitoring, to where if I see YFN down on Cleveland Avenue with a bunch of assault rifles, probably not great. So
We
we
need to
need to monitor
charge.
constantly to say, okay, we need to get marked units down to Cleveland to mitigate that. So we're constantly, I have a unit that I work with. Everybody was involved. in
Oh,
the
I
whole
see what you're saying,
investigation.
Kelly.
So
I'm
everybody
sorry.
was tuned into what was
Oh,
going on.
Who's in it?
Kelly, is that you?
You know,
I
the
think
gang
I
unit,
know who
there's
that
a bunch of
is.
people. I couldn't
think
tell
I
you
know
that
who
to give
that
you a
is.
roster at that time.
Tell
It's
me,
changed,
do I
but
know who this
Okay,
is?
if we had reports, could we know who was on that unit? Since
they
it's
wouldn't. I don't know anybody in our
That's
gang
you?
unit that would give you a report of every social media post they screenshot.
Okay, well, I didn't ask if anyone in the gang unit would. I asked if you did. Did you write a report about exactly which users you were following to pick up specific posts?
Mr. Short, you've asked me that before, and I've told you I've compiled every user you see in the folder is who I was monitoring.
Okay, and what about is there no one else that you were monitoring that's not in the folder?
That folder pretty much covers a whole lot of people.
Okay, and we just take it from you. No reports.
Whether you have all the posts, that I captured. They're in a folder, gathered collectively, organized in a folder for you. So I don't know what.
Hey, thanks for joining.
Screenings that were
Just
captured.
want documentation of the work you did.
It's documented in a folder that was served in Discovery.
Yeah, I was working from home this afternoon around, I don't know, 3 or something, and I saw that Cross started. I had to go live.
Some of those posts that you deemed relevant are actually lyrics to songs, correct?
I'd have to see what you're referring to.
Could you display 471 VV? 471. Okay, this is
What's
Mr.
that?
Nichols, Comarvius Nichols, right?
Correct.
Okay, and 471 VV is exactly how the state has put this into evidence.
Correct.
All right, and we're going to get back to exactly what this is in a little bit.
Correct.
All right.
But those words, what you saying, I run with cold-blooded killers, okay? When are you saying that you collected this?
Probably 2 days or a day or two after the murder of Mr. Drinks.
Okay, and those words, those were written by Mr. Nichols?
No, it's a song by NBA Youngboy that he chose those words to put on the post 2 days after Mr. Drinks was killed.
He chose those words?
So what this is it's an Instagram story, and you can select a song and which portion of that song. You can select anywhere from 10 seconds to 30 seconds, and you select that, and you can overlay it onto your story.
Leaf knows
That's what
how
was done here.
Instagram works. I don't know how
Mr.
Instagram.
Nichols made the social media post, and in the post, he picked this song to accompany his
All
post.
right, you know what? We're not going to get back to this. Let's deal with this right
Okay.
now. Mr. Kokomo, if you would.
I'd object to the commentary, but
Okay, Your Honor, may Mr. Kokomo approach?
Yes.
dang, the judge is already tired. Yes. Kelly, did you watch Doug's cross examination or no? If you did, what did you think? All right, come on, folks.
Start from the beginning.
Come on. Ouch. Shark's on fire. He cannot even he cannot even stand still.
We can hear the audio.
We can.
I mean,
Do you?
yeah. So that is a screen. Oh, can I explain?
Okay, Mr. Kokomo.
No, Doug's the attorney representing Gotti, the other defendant.
Do you recognize what's been marked as 60 VV?
Yes, it's a video of his story in its entirety.
Okay. And is that the way you saw it on social media?
It was both a video that was submitted in discovery and a photo.
Here she goes
that was submitted.
explaining.
The relevant portion of that would have been relevant to our investigation was that you're posting a video the day after somebody's murdered in your presence.
Yeah.
Do you recognize
Yes.
that video? Okay. Your Honor, I would move to admit DS 60 into
All right.
evidence.
Admit it.
Permission to publish.
All right, I want to see this. Come on. Yeah, Weinstein. It was awful, girl. It was terrible. It was terrible. That man, he needs to go back to civil litigation because he does not know anything about criminal trials. It was awful. Awful. The whole thing probably lasted, I want to say 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let me just confirm the charges. Because I thought it was 54, but I might be mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, that man spent 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Today is what? No. 11. Hold on. All right. I'm just trying to look up the number of charges because I think he was 54. Okay, he's facing 12 counts. He's facing 12 counts. Yeah, that man, I don't know. I've always been firm about this. You cannot have a civil litigator you cannot even have a civil litigator as a prosecutor. They're not going to deliver unless they go back, learn from scratch. Other than that, they won't deliver. Nope. Yeah, a man spent 5 minutes. May have been, I don't even think it was 10. I doubt it was 10. I wonder how much he got paid for that, because yeah, it was ridiculous. Let's see. I'm trying to find. I think it said 12. Is it 12? Yeah, he is facing 12 felony counts. You know, honestly, for me, what I am most worried about, it would be the Merck charges. Definitely felon in possession of a firearm. That, yeah. Mm. The RICO, I'm not too worried about. Not too worried about that. Let's see. All right, come on, folks. I'm just trying to find the indictment. Let's see. These are too many people to start with. Yeah, overall, it is 55 charges or counts. Let's say, let's see. No, that's somebody else. Hold on.
All right, we're gonna, given the time, and we need to sort out something anyway, we're gonna break with y'all for the day.
Oh,
And so we'll see y'all again
yeah.
tomorrow at not, no, we have a late start, 10:30 with y'all.
10:30?
Is that right? Whatever I told y'all before is what I mean. I can't remember what it was,
You'll go
but
tired.
whatever I told you. Everybody just be here then.
All right.
10:30. Hmm? Hang on, y'all. Let's see.
Let's see what they're going to contend over.
It's 10 is what we have. What's what I have on my calendar. So 10.
10 a.m.
See y'all at 10.
Eastern Time.
Good try though.
All right, let's see. All right, come on.
All right, and y'all are gonna look this evening to see exactly what
Will it be live or no?
the outcome of was when we discussed this particular video before. And we're quickly getting to, I think, needing to do charge conference. And I appreciate y'all's work on this late last week and over the weekend. And I think that there's, oh, you can go. We'll see you at 10 in the morning.
Who's at the witness?
Thank you. A lot of it there appears to be agreement on. I think the challenging part, if there is one, is going to be figuring out exactly what needs to be charged with regard to RICO. But I'm wondering, certainly in the morning before we have the jury, but maybe for a little while tonight, if we wanted to go ahead and start getting through some of that, maybe can y'all, unless there's any reason, I'd love to maybe take 45 minutes or so tonight
What?
and then get together in the morning and try to at least wrap up everything other than RICO. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. And then obviously I'll get a final determination after the state rests of
Okay.
whether the defense wants to present a case and whether the defendants want to.
Oh, you know,
testify
Chard
to-
is going to present a case.
But
No question.
at some point,
I'd be
fairly
surprised if it
soon,
doesn't.
if there isn't going to be a defense case, we'll need to tackle the RICO. And I think that
And-
the state wanted to bring Mr. Floyd in for that part of the argument.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what the timing is going to be, but give him a heads up that, you know, maybe as early as tomorrow afternoon.
He's aware, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to let her finish.
Okay. All right.
Are they done?
So y'all have got a draft that we've all been working in, the state, the defense.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is that this is the second time that Whitaker has basically moved on to closing. And as I said, I believe wasn't this last night? Last night where I mentioned that motions for directed verdicts, they hardly ever succeed. And I mean, as during my tenure as a public defender, just because a motion for directed verdict does not succeed does not mean that the defendant is going to get convicted. Because during the times when I brought the motion for directed verdict, I did not even go on to present. Okay, maybe I'm not thinking. Kelly, I'm thinking about the cookie case. So yeah, it just depends. But every time that I have made a motion for directed verdict, it was denied, but the defendants did get acquitted. So, you know, whatever
And the court
it's worth.
exchanging emails.
But I was just highlighting that she's been talking more about closing arguments as opposed to, or even considering the possibility of a motion for directed verdict.
Back and forth, not emails, but exchanging the document back and forth with various edits to it for the offenses. So if we all want to pull that up.
All right, come on, Whitaker. Who's this? No, Stephen Marley.
And I assume, just for record purposes, that each side has filed what they sent originally as their proposed. Okay, but you can. If y'all want to. I mean, it seems like we're going to reach agreement as to the final form of most of this anyway, but if,
Yeah.
you know, I'll just say if anybody wants your original version in a potential record, just file it. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. And so is y'all all know
And
what Ms.
The
Burstfield did.
the reason why a defense attorney would want the original to be part of the court's record is to preserve it for appeal. An appeals court is only going to deal with what's in the record. They're not going to, you know, go on YouTube and watch all these live streams to figure out what the discussions were.
Let's just take the state's charges, the defense charges, and consolidate them all into one document. And that's the document we're all looking at now. And anything that the court.
At this rate, closing arguments might be this week or, yeah. So that's going to spoil my plans because I planned on taking off work in order to react to closings live. If it's next week, I might be able to actually live stream depending on the day. Otherwise, I'll have to catch the replay.
Has asked y'all to think about, I have indicated that in some way in this document. And then y'all took a look at it and you have let me know the things that everybody might agree to. So let's just run through it. I think most of it won't take very long.
All right.
So the very first one, and I just moved 1.20.30 up to the front because it seems to make more sense there than later. But I had suggested that we use the word admitted instead of presented when it says it's your responsibility to determine the facts of the case from all of the evidence.
Yeah, they're closing this week. They're closing this week. That's why they're working on the jury charges. They're closing this week.
They're presented or admitted. And the defense is fine with that. And the state has questions, is what y'all's note says. So what is your question about that particular change? Or I can just explain why I think admitted is a better idea than presented. And that is because all kinds of evidence gets presented, but ultimately excluded. And I don't, obviously, they can't consider anything that's been excluded, whereas they can consider everything that got admitted.
And I think my question, Your Honor, was regarding testimony. We normally say admitted as physical evidence, but if there's testimony, we normally don't say listen to the admitted testimony. And so I didn't know if there was confusion that what was testified to is something different than the evidence that was admitted versus like versus pictures or physical.
Yeah, so there's down below, there's going to be an explanation of what evidence is, and it's going to say it's both exhibits and testimony.
All right, so I'm gonna stop right here. I will be back 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna stop here, get myself situated so that we can be back on this live 10 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in.